Hello, wealthy family, and welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some time with me. I am Chanel, Ascending Infinite Goddess. So this Sinners video, I keep pulling this hair down and it keeps wanting to stick up. But this Sinners review is long overdue. I wanted to see this video when it came out opening weekend, and my husband was home. And I was like, let's go see the movie. And he was like, oh, I'm not interested in seeing another slave movie, all that trauma. And I was like, that's not quite what it is, but whatever, fine. I'll go see it on my own. And then he's working out of state right now. And he flew back and had some free time and was like, everyone keeps talking about this movie, I'm gonna go see it. So he went and saw it. And then he was like, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I definitely should have seen this movie with you. He's like, I'm going to buy your ticket. I want you to go, go, go. So the first time I saw it, because I did see it twice, the first time I saw it was Sunday, May 4th. And I happened to be wearing all my Star Wars gear. I had on my Mandalorian hat and I had on my Mandalorian shirt, whatever. I was in all black. And I went and I saw the movie. And I was just literally, black is a form of protection, but it's also the energy in which things are created. It absorbs energy, and literally that's all I was doing when I sat there the first time and was watching it. I was absorbing it. I was trying to remember which one was stack and which one was smoke. By the way, if you haven't seen the movie, you may want to click off of this because I'm definitely going in. But yeah, I was trying to remember which one was stack, which one was smoke, and then the correlation of the red and the blue colors, and I was just taking little things in. So the second time I went and saw it was on Tuesday the 6th. I had just one appointment in the morning and then some later on in the afternoon. I didn't have any children, they were all in school. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go see this movie again. And I just happened to be wearing white that whole time. I had a white head wrap on, white dress, because I had my reading. So I was like, that's so funny, the contrast and the difference of what I was wearing when I went to see it the first time and the second time. But anyway, the second time I took my notebook, and I'm going to reference it, but I can't even really read all my notes. Mind you, I was in the movie theater trying to take the notes. So there's that. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I liked it. I loved it. The music scene, the overlay and everything, right? We're going to jump to the music scene because that's the scene everyone talks about. But the whole movie was a music scene. Like, the whole movie was really like a love story to me. I was like, this movie is all about love. It's whether it's love of money, love for a family, romantic, sexual love, that, forbidden love that couldn't correlate, love for neighbor, right? Even the vampire was all about love, right? He was about fellowship and love. And I was telling my husband, I said, look at this madness. Because my husband loved to say, oh, I'm fellowshipping, right? We're not religious, but he's like, I love the fellowship. And I was like, look at this man. But he was all about fellowship and love. And it's like, through music, right? The universal language, the connection, how a lot of things were introduced and impregnated on the mind in the movie was overlaced with music. Even the music scene, which is what I was saying, when Samuel was like, I wrote this song for my father, right? Now, this is the first time that he's really playing the guitar out, right, where people can see. Remember, someone had asked him, hey, you making money with that thing? I believe it was Mary. You making money with that thing yet? And he was like, no, not yet. But he had been practicing on it because he's had it for such a long time. But he's been practicing on it, but he hasn't been able to perform, right? The first time we saw the guitar was in the church with his dad. His dad was like, yeah, I got this guitar. Yeah, I brought it up here. And he was looking like, right? Even the overlay of the masculine energy in that whole thing, because it turned out the guitar was not from a famous musician, right? That the twins won off in a card game, but it was their father, right? It was their father's guitar, and we had trauma in there anyway. But the music scene, the overlay of the song, right? Papa, I Told You a Lie, or something of that nature, that really got me. And I loved when he was playing with the future version, not the future version of him, but just like the future version of music, the electrifying part of the guitar, and then walked up to the stage, and him and the guy were playing strum for strum, you know, on the main stage. Like, that was so beautiful, because you can see how music ties everything together all the way through. Like, I absolutely loved it. So that music scene, and even invoking the ancestral energy, right? I know a lot of people were talking about the ancestral energy, not just our ancestors from different continents, because you had the African ancestors and you had the American ancestors, right? The ancestors in the South where they were. And then you also had the geisha, right? The Chinese ancestor that came through, right? Because when the Asian couple, when she went and got her husband and they came out and was dancing on the floor, that's when their ancestor came and invoked. With them dancing, that movement, that love, that connection, the dancing and the moving, the swaying of the music is what gets you connected and in harmony, right? Even when the vampire them was singing their song, they were kind of swaying and strumming, right, with their dry, stale ass music. Like, that music had no flavor, had no soul, right? Until and I'm sorry, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but you know, the vampire ancestral energy just wanted to have companionship, the fellowship, right? That's why he said he wanted Sammy. He's like, y'all give me Sammy. That's the first thing I noted when I went and saw it the first time. He's like, y'all give me Sammy, I'll let y'all live. He's like, I can't leave this place, but I can bring my friends to me. But I'm so stale, and the people that I've bitten thus far, they stale as fuck. They don't have a beautiful song. They don't have a voice that carries and commands presence. But Sammy, yours does. Because remember when the vampire was watching from outside, he was the one that envisioned the barn, like the barn's down, right? The fire had burned the barn down, and you just saw the smoldering, and he saw through it all and saw Sammy playing and saw the ancestral, like he felt that, he saw it in his mind's eye. That was also a forecast or a foreshadow of the barn catching fire and burning down, because when the Asian lady, it's funny, she was always with the fire, right? She liked the smoke, she had her cigarette. Then even when they were flashing back at the end of the movie and showing how they were preparing the barn, she was there, right, doing the sign, and it was painting it in red. And then when they were trying to hook up the electricity, they flashed from her to the electricity line popping. That's a sign of fire, right? When she was ready to go burn all the vampires, she went and she lit up that fire, Molotov cocktail, and he hit it against the barn door. That's how she caught on fire while she was stabbing her husband, right? Just all that. That's the foreshadow of hell, the purgatory, right? The torture, as she was dying and she was screaming, stabbing her husband in the heart, because she's like, I'll burn to death. I don't want you to be a vampire. I need us to go to the afterlife together, right? Like, that really stood out to me. The love that she had for her husband and even for her daughter, right? The love of money, which has got the twins in the situation that they were in the first place, right? If little Mary, right, and it just keeps pulling back to me, Mary had a little lamb. If little Mary wasn't like, oh, let me go get this money for us, let me go get this real money, because your people, the blacks, the browns, right, all they have is what the plantation owners are giving them, right? They have these wooden chips. We're drowning. It's not any real money. You all have all this expensive stuff. Let me go get these white people who have real money and help bring this till up. And that is what got her outside, and that's what invited the vampire energy, right? Love of the wrong thing. The love that Smoke had for Annie, right? By making that promise. Listen, if you get bit. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I was talking to one of my sister goddesses, and she was saying how Stack represented the divine feminine, the love quality, the nurturing quality. And in the movie, he was the one that got stuck in his mother's canal, which I believe is probably how the mom died, right? But Smoke was the more masculine. He was a soldier. At least 3 times I heard references of him in the movie. If it wasn't him referencing, someone else referencing, saying that he's a soldier, right? He's the more masculine. He's the war. He's the go-to. He's the, okay, listen, I'm going to handle this and I'm going to knock this out. I'm not going to ask no questions, right? So Smoke being blue and Stack being red, right? Stack representing that fear, flight, that ancestor, that warrior energy, and then that nurturing, that like lower feminine energy, and then Smoke being blue. See, I'm still getting them mixed up, but Smoke's the one that's always smoking. Smoke, the soldier, being blue, being more vocal, being more in the practical, right? Being more in the thought process, and it's like, no, we can't just all out here be kumbaya in love. I'm not gonna let you bite me and bite Annie, and now we all here as vampires living forever. Like, that shit ain't it, bruh. No, right? And even how Stack's last words as Stack, when they went in the room and Smoke got Mary off of him, the last thing that Stack said was, "She bit me. I love you." That was the last words of him as Stack before he died and then came back as the vampire. But just for "I love you" to be one of his last words, it just shows how he was embodying that feminine energy, right? He was the one that was the pimp that was selling tail, right, in the movie, and he was like, when you was selling them hoes on the street and da-da-da, he was like, yeah, but I wasn't selling tail in the South, right? In the Delta is what they kept calling it. And Delta Slim, oh my God, he played that role. His foreshadowing, right? His masculine energy, knowing that his friend died in that train station behind some money, and he still's in the train station in that spot, right? Keeping his own routine, but just drinking and smothering all his traumas, all his demons, right? He talked about how he was passed around when they went to jail, fear of being killed, but instead they just put him on like a traveling, performing freaking monkeys with the music. That's why he's like, oh, I can play the mess out this piano, out this harmonica. Like, I'll play these instruments now, right? For my survival, for whatever else the case may be, right? Why he didn't step foot in no church, because that's what his friend that got lynched said he was going to do. He's like, all right, I'm going to get up out of here and I'm going to go ahead and open up a church and find the Lord. But you saw what happened, how his friend died, why those men lynched him, giving Delta Slim that trauma, because love of money, right? The friend pulled out the money to pay for the ticket, a $2 ticket, put all the money out, and now here we go. These white men's like, what's that nigger doing with all that money, right? There it is, love of money. Same thing what the white man did at the end when Smoke was dying, which you notice Smoke lived all the way through, did not turn into a vampire. Nothing happened to him as he kept that mojo bag, as he kept that protection around him, which is kind of what Annie had forecasted. He's like, why didn't it work for our baby? She's like, I don't know, but it worked for you. And as soon as he pulled it out, as soon as he pulled it off at the end and killed all them white people that came, the KKK, right? When he pulled it off, that's when he caught the bullet. That's when he was harmed. He didn't catch a bullet in any of the trenches in Germany or messing with Al Capone or the vampires or anything. But that's when he caught it. Right then and there, so the foreshadow, you got to have your spiritual protection. Once you remove the spiritual protection, or you remove the thing that you believe is what is helping you, now you're letting your forces down. You're letting your fences down, right? But the white guy, as he was dying, he's like, hey, I have some money. He's like, your money ain't gonna do nothing. Like, I'm sitting here having visions of my wife breastfeeding our baby and you coming in about, you got some money. Like, I'm dying and you definitely finna die, but you finna over die since you want to interrupt my stuff, right? Money no longer mattered, right? Which is kind of like what the vampire was telling him. Like, listen, I got gold. It's money from another time, but I'll spend away, but it won't matter. It's going to keep you empty because you're not fulfilled. You're sad. Like, you're not really free, right? You're not really free. As long as you have the sense of, I need this thing to survive and I need permission from other people in order to survive, it doesn't matter how much money you have. And that's a tale for today. That's a tale for today, right? Even with the sexual encounters, how Sammy encountered Pearline by that conversation that he had with Stack when they were in the car, and Stack was like, "Oh, you want to drive?" He's like, "Yeah, well, you know, I want to drive." He said, "You can drive on the way home," which you notice Sammy did. He drove all the way home. He drove his ass all the way to the church. But anyway, when they were in the car and they were talking, and he was like, "Oh, you never, tasted women? Oh, okay, so." The woman got the button and you put pressure on it like an ice cream cone, and that's why he was telling Pearline, "Oh no, I just want to try something," right? That was his first experience, and it was obviously a good one. Don't matter that she was sweaty because he'd have named the whole freaking club after her. Right? But just that foreshadowing, like, it was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful how they like interwove so many different things in a movie. It didn't even feel like a long movie. It didn't feel like a whole 2 hours. Like, it was just amazing. It was just great. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh yeah, the Chinese daughter, the Asian daughter, wearing red and blue, this with her clothing. Sorry. And even that connection with the Chinese, right? Serving the black side and the white side, right? You saw the husband was serving the black side, and then when he was like, "Oh, go get your mama," she walked over from the white store, right? The Asians were like the connector where, okay, we gonna go ahead and serve them both. We neutral. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Your colorism. We don't care about this shit. We just not trying to be in China right now because it's crazy. But yeah, the daughter was wearing the red and the blue. Anything else that I wanted to say? I kind of carried over from like the first. Everything I just said so far I got from the first and the second. Oh yeah, Smoke was telling Sammy to be the soldier. He's like, "Listen, you don't want this life, don't use our name, just go ahead, go make church music, and don't be playing this juke stuff no more because this ain't it. God is where it's at," right? Even though he didn't believe in God in himself, he was just like, this life that we live in isn't it. And Sammy was like, "Nope, I don't want to hear it." Obviously he went against that and he used their name. He went to Chicago, he made a name for himself, right? He done rebuilt back the guitar. Like, that guitar was his weapon. Literally, it saved his life when he hit the vampire and the silver part got stuck in the vampire's head. Like, before Smoke came up behind him and jugged him in the heart. But yeah, that guitar was so precious. It was so sacred. It was really like his weapon of choice. So it's like the things that you hold valuable, that you hold precious, again, that totem, like how Smoke had the mojo bag around him, that guitar, with the guitar being the Smokestack twins' father's guitar, and you know that he was abusive to Stack because probably he killed a mama and he was upset, so that's why he beat on him, feeling he was the weaker of the two. But coming from that guitar, coming from him, and them seeing something beautiful come of that guitar, but knowing that it's coming from this strong, like, masculine, dominating, evil, because anybody that can beat their kids like that is definitely evil, right? Miserable person. But that guitar now had that energy of this man on it, and it's like, it's taken me so far. It's taken me further than any of you all could ever go. But yeah, and the twins' name, Elias Moore is Stack, and Elijah Moore is Smoke. It's funny that their last name is Moore. Like, we're never satisfied. We're never going to be satisfied. Give us more. Give us more. And then Elijah and Elias, of course, biblical names along with that. But it made me think of Elias, like, aha, right? Elias, with the aha moments of, okay, I couldn't be with this white girl in real life because some things may happen to me. My brother's not going to approve. But here we are in the afterlife. We got our forever, right? In the hell that he said that when she told him, go to hell at the train station, he's like, yep, and I'm going to save a seat for you, right? Now they are in hell for real, forever, because, yeah. they don't have no more family. They can't see the sun. Not that the white girl matter, but yeah. And the thing with the Native Americans, like, that Native American coming in and hunting, you know, I would have liked to see more on that storyline, but that's so accurate because Native Americans, they're one with the land, so they know. They know, like, okay, this white devil, something's wrong with him, right? We know, we've noticed, we've tracked some patterns with him, and we're hunting him down. But okay, the white lady was like, oh, we got this money, so who cares, whatever, right? But those Native Americans, because they're one with the land, because they're well aware, they had him. They had him. And that shows the fight. They had that fight back, that get back. And I love that. I love that. The natives were not just some domicile, whatever. I would have loved to see them look a little bit more like original, like the natives, but whatever. But yeah, they're like, we're not domicile, whatever, buffalo herding motherfuckers. Like, we are warriors as well, and we will take on those that are supernatural. We're well aware of how they operate. So I really did like that timeline. But yeah, that's about that. This video is rather long, and I can even go further in depth. You know, if there's anything that you all want to highlight with the movie, just let me know. But yeah, this was like such a love story for me. Like I said, regardless of what love is, how the love was displayed, because it definitely is in many different fashions, but it was just screaming love story. And I was like, oh, okay, not horror, not thriller, not, you know, psychological bender, yes, but definitely a love story. All right, wealthy family, that's all that I have for you today. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And until we connect again, stay alert, stay aware, and live in love.